So before there was a beginning, before there was a beginning, there was absolutely nothing. But it was only empty to an eye. It was actually overfull. It reached its brim and then it just began to overflow. And as it did, this nothing began to turn into something. The potentiality for everything arose, although nothing yet appeared. So it wasn't alive, nothing. I wouldn't use the word waiting, nothing, but it was very much like that. It was just this potential that began to form. It began to form and form and reform and reform. And there were no names. So although it was no longer no thing, it was still nothing without names. It was still something without names, making it a different type of nothing than the no thing that, how do you say it was here when it wasn't? How do you say it wasn't when we don't know? But the forms multiplied and morphed. And then there was a spot of light, a tiny spot of light, just like a pinpoint of light. And for one brief moment, nothing had an apparent center. And then another pinpoint arose, and it was not in the same place. So now we had duality and distance. We had this and that. And the distance between them. And then pinpoints began to form everywhere. There was no longer a center. There was not a light shining, a pinpoint shining especially brightly as if it might be a center. Hmm. It was just like being on the moon and looking at the space, being on the dark side of the moon and looking at space. Everything very bright. There was really, I guess it was the opposite. Everything was very dark, but it was punctuated by light. That's the exact word, punctuated by light. S, plural. And it stayed just like that. What can we say? It didn't stay like that a long time. There was no long time. There was no time. Although it seemed that there was 1 point and then the two and then 32 and then 102 and 1002. So there seemed to be something that punctuated the difference that that spread the difference between the punctuations, the points. And the points did not appear to be in exactly the same space. And we noticed that there was space. And the feeling of a looker began to arise. And with it along came the sense of looking at. Instead of looking as. And the looking at was the watcher, never to be found, just watching, perhaps a sense of watching. There was some sort of physical manifestation, apparent physical manifestation of something watching. And this something was other. It was real other. It wasn't just not this and not that. It appeared to be not this, not that, but something else entirely. And when I say it appeared, I'm talking about a feeling. And then there was something to notice: silence. There had not been noise, but the silence had not yet been noticed until it was. And the silence felt like a this superimposed over that. And the forms began to move, circulate, procreate. It was just a mass, and The forms had no names, they had no centers, they had no boundaries. So you can't really say it was forms, but it was the idea of forms. There's no better word than forms. Because somehow it was beyond potential, but not yet form. And thus is the way of the watcher or the watching. This watching is not our watching. We are part of the watched. It feels like that there's a we here who is watching. There is a very strong sense of we here. But if we let go of ideas, then we really don't know what this is. We can't even know that, we can't even know if this is. But it appears like smoke in the sky. And then it becomes denser, more dense. And now there is conscious form. The conscious form is not other than that which it arose from. Seemed like there could be a line of demarcation, but there's not. And then there was the beginning. Thank you. You can open your eyes when you're ready.